My name is Layne Meloy, and I have type 1 diabetes. Having this disease, having type 1 diabetes has changed my life pretty much in every way. I guess it would almost be better to say, how hasn't it changed your life, right? From the simplest things like taking a walk outside. It requires planning. We love to walk around our neighborhood, to walk around on the trails, and it requires planning. We have to take snacks. We've got to check my blood sugar before we go and take those precautions. It's affected us, financially. It is something that you have to plan for every year, every month. You have to plan for and budget in those high costs for insulin, for supplies. So that's definitely been something that was unexpected, that is now there, and that we have to think about. Even with all of the proper management with devices and medication administration, it can still be a very scary, very dangerous thing to live with, even if you are very controlled. There are times that I know personally, on a personal level, I lay down at night and I think, gosh, did I calculate that right? And did I give myself the appropriate amount of insulin? And if I didn't, what might the effect be here in the aftermath? And it's scary to think about, because it can be dangerous. There can be diabetic seizures that can lead to a diabetic coma. There can be, death. And unfortunately, we hear these stories a lot. It is something that you struggle with physically and mentally. A lot of people don't really understand the mental side of, how it can really impact you and the struggles you can go through. And so I've spent many years kind of getting to the point where I'm able to feel, a little more comfortable. And I think it just takes a lot of time. I know I've talked with a lot of other type 1 diabetics and getting to that point, and it's ongoing. It's kind of never ending, learning how to deal with something, not only every day, but a lot of times every hour of every day. It is something that you have to think about, and there is no escape. And so really just the emotional side and the mental side can be difficult. And then of course there's the physical side, that you wake up some days and you've had high blood sugars all night and you just feel foggy and you don't feel good, and your energy level is a struggle. And from the outside you look like a normal person, and you are, but there are things happening that are difficult to explain to others. And so going through all of these struggles and finding myself finally in a position where I feel like I've conquered some of those things. I'll never be perfect. My blood sugars will never be perfect. That's just part of this disease. But I've learned how to be okay with that in a lot of ways. And those struggles will continue, but I'm getting better at working through them. And so being in this place now where I feel more comfortable has kind of brought me to a point where I'm ready to help others. I see a need in the community for these type 1 diabetics, especially for children, for families struggling, financially to decide, how they're going to be able to purchase the insulin, the devices, the supplies that it takes to keep their children alive. And it comes with a lot of sacrifices many times. So I've seen there's a need there, and it's something that I finally decided I want to, make a change, and I want to make a difference. And I want to put myself out there and see what we can do for the community. So here recently, one of the new challenges that I have decided to take on is the startup of a nonprofit organization called Type 1 at a Time. Type 1 at a Time is going to be a nonprofit organization that relies on donations and fundraising and grants. And that money is all going to go towards helping those families, purchase those expensive devices, those insulin pumps that those children need to stay alive and to stay healthy. But we're also excited about exploring some of these other avenues and going in some other directions and really helping, with the support side. That's something that's been really important in my life. And when I've discovered some of these support groups, both here locally and online, so we want to be a resource for people in that way. We want to work on fundraisers here locally and nationwide as well, and really expand and look at all kinds of options and be as impactful as we possibly can. Type 1 at a Time wants to focus on one child, one family at a time, and really making that big impact on their lives, making their life easier. My name is Layne Meloy, and my organization is Type 1 at a Time.